Liberty and freedom. What are they really? If you've watched any of the previous 3 videos in this series, you will probably recognize that liberals and conservatives probably don't have the same definition in mind of what is liberty. But fundamentally, what is it? You'll often hear it said like this: freedom to buy, freedom to sell, freedom to try, and freedom to fail. But what is it that makes it happen? It comes down to this: minimizing the coercive power of government. Remember that. In the second video, we talked about a community who banded together and hired a sheriff, and government was born. This government has to have the ability to collect taxes to pay the sheriff. This is the coercive power we're talking about. The power of the government to get certain behavior because of a threat of punishment. Some is required because the government needs to be able to collect taxes to pay for its operations. But minimizing this power is where individual liberty is found. Another key for there to be liberty is equality under the law. That is, equal treatment under the law, no privileged classes, no special treatment, but all people are treated the same under the law. These things are the whole aim of the Constitution: minimizing the coercive power of government through the separation of powers, checks and balances, and setting up a system of government where there is no privileged class. A fundamental requirement for liberty is individual responsibility for your actions and for the consequences of those actions, whether they're good or bad. And rights are the general kind of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, not specific things like food, housing, jobs, health care, or any of the luxuries of life. Those are the things that you work for. The liberals' ideas regarding liberty are vastly different. Instead of individual responsibility, they seek to set up a system that takes away the consequences for people's behavior, and that you can behave however you want. Let's look at a few examples. The Occupy Wall Street crowd, they want to spend their life protesting and want free stuff. And they want to not have any consequences for the fact that they're not being productive members of society. And they want the productive members of society to shield them from any of the consequences of their behavior. How about abortion? I don't bring this up to talk about the arguments between liberals and conservatives on this issue, but I bring it up because it's a very good example of the liberals' agenda to take away consequences for behavior. How about big business? Now, you've probably often heard about conservatives and big business. But the phrase, too big to fail, is a liberal philosophy. Remember that free to fail part of liberty? As liberals take away the consequences of actions, and how can we ever expect businesses to be run properly if they never have to face the risk of going out of business? What is the liberals' thought on equality? While they might say that they believe in equality under the law, or equal treatment under the law, their actions say otherwise. Liberals speak more about equality of things, as defined by some elitist do-gooder. When someone or some benevolent group is tasked with deciding what constitutes equality, we get, as a result, privileged classes, special treatment under the law, and this leads to the arbitrary behavior of tyranny. The liberal wants to have no limit to the coercive power of government, and as a result, we end up with ever-increasing dependence on the government, and a perpetually larger government that intrudes into every aspect of our lives. The mayor of New York is the poster child for liberal government intrusion into your life with things like his soda size ban. Obama's policies have demonstrated an ever-increasing dependence of people on the government through increasing poverty rates and vastly increased welfare rolls. The liberal wants to force through government coercion. Remember, that's threats for punishment if you do something that they don't like buying a soda larger than 16 ounces. So they coerce everyone to do whatever the elites in charge deem as right and good, which is a bit ironic considering they also say that they are all about freedom of choice. Despite the liberal do-gooders' intentions, moving away from individual liberty necessarily moves us towards tyranny. So the options are not really between liberal and conservative ideas, but they are between tyranny and liberty. Our founding fathers were specifically running away from the coercive power of the king and the arbitrary tyranny that accompanies a government that has no restraint. Where do you stand?